Hello everyone. I warmly welcome all of you to first lecture of Railway Bridge Engineering. I am Ms. Megha Karwal, Department of Civil Engineering from Praveen Patil College of Diploma Engineering and Technology, Binder. In this semester, we are going to learn about course Railway and Bridge Engineering. Course code is 22403 and semester is 4th sem. From today's lecture, we start our unit number 1, that is Basics of Railway Engineering, which is for 12 marks for your curriculum. In this chapter, we will see following points in details like in role of transportation in development of nation, modes of transportation system, permanent way, rail joints, grip of rail, sleepers, ballast, rail fixtures and fastening. So let's start with the first point is overview of transportation engineering. Transportation. Transportation refers to activity that facilitate physical movement of goods as well as individuals from one place to another. So transportation system is defined as a planning, designing, constructing and maintaining a successful network either a roads, railway, waterways or airways. Role of transportation in the development of nation. The development of any country largely depends on the efficiency of its transportation system. Transportation plays an important role in development of nation. It contributes in the progress of nation by economical, industrial, social or and cultural development. So the transportation open up new avenues or job facilities in agriculture, industry, commerce, health, tourism by being basic means of communication. The settlement of or the settlement patterns of the civilization indicates that the towns have always grown along the river banks or on a major routes or near railway station. Improved transportation system increase the social awareness among the people as one can travel for in a short time. Transportation network creates a job opportunity for millions of peoples. In this way, transportation contributes to the social development of a nation. Modes of transportation system. Our environment consists of land, air and water. This media have provided scope of the four modes or three modes of transportation: land transportation, air transportation and water transportation. Rail transportation and road transportation are the two components of land transportation. So the modes of transportation system is roadways, railways, airways and waterways. Roadways. Road transportation is the most suitable type for the short haul passenger and good transport. This is more so especially in the hilly terrains where other transport modes can't reach. It's provide door-to-door service. Merits. A number of smaller units like a scooter, rickshaw, cars, etc. are available for personalized transport. They transport the main and material from one part to another speedily and easily. It is economical from common man's point of view. They provide door-to-door service. Demerits of roadway. Suitable for short distance only. Limitation on the bulk transport because of other traffic on roads. The rates of accidents are very high as compared to other mode of transportation because of the bulk and presence of the other traffic. There is a restrictions on speed. Next is railway. The best alternative for land transportation of bulk goods over long distance by vehicles is the railway. Run on specific track prepared for this purpose. The railway is in India are directly under the control of central government. Merits of railway: suitable for transportation bulky cargo over the long distance, for example coal, steel, timber and other raw materials. Power required for railways is comparatively less because of the less inactive resistance of steel wheel on the steel rails. Railway provide employment to millions of people. Railway plays an important role in industrialization of country. Demerits of railway: destination points and starting points are fixed and cannot be altered, cannot provide door to door service. There is a restriction on the path of railway lines. Sharp curves and steep gradients cannot be provided. Laying of track is costly. Airway: the most advanced mode of transportation is the air transport. Air transport is very fast and has made the world a small place. Tourism industry has been developed to a great extent by this mode of transport. Merits: very fast mode of transport, plays important role in a wartime defense of the country. Emergency supplies of remote areas can be immediately made. A widespread to air transport network is a sign of development of nation. Demerits: the system is very costly, therefore cannot be afforded by common man. The climate factors like a fog, rainfall, etc also affects the routine of the air transport. Waterways. Water transportation is the oldest mode of transportation. From the time man dumped it into river to transport them to some places on the downstream side, water transport has developed into major mode of transportation. Merits: economic mode of transport. It is it can carry heavy loads over a long distance, suitable for bulky materials like oil, coal, timber, etc. Canal transportation provides environment friendly mode of transport. Demerits: this mode is time consuming as ships move with the slow speed. Climatic factors plays an important role. Next is cross drainage work for roads and railway. The suitable of road pavements can only be maintained if their surface and foundation bed remains in a dry. Efficient collection, removal, and disposal of surface and subsurface water within the right of way of a road and permanent way of a railway track is called as a road or railway drainage. The entrance of the water in the subgrade or any other layers of the roads, pavement, and permanent way, even for the short intervals, is undesirable and dangerous because it is considered as one of the major causes of the road and railway failure. Okay, so this system of depositing the water collected in a side drain or that the natural stream across a road or railway track is known as a cross drainage for road or for a railway track. Necessity and importance of cross drainage work. Excess moisture content causes reduction in bearing strength of base course bed materials. Due to poor drainage, waves and corrugations are formed in a flexible pavement. At place where the temperature often reaches to freezing point, the frost action of the water entering the pavement structure may be cause damage. The increase in a moisture content causes an increase in a weight and reduction in a strength of the soil mass of the side slope. Necessity of railways. Railway helps to transport the goods in speedy way. Development of industry because of the mobility of labors and materials. Safe mode of transport, economical mode of transport. Necessity of bridge. To cross the river easily for speedy and easy transportation, it saves the time of traveling, it saves the cost of traveling. Necessity of tunnel. When the two terminal station is separated by a mountain are to be connected by the shortest route. When the depth of open cut or for reaching the other side of a hill or more than 20 meter and it is costlier to construct and maintain than a tunnel. When the provision of bridge for carrying a road or railway traffic across the river is more inconvenient and costlier than the tunnel under the bridge river bed. When the routes of railway track or roads at a high altitude is to be protected from blockage due to the snowfall or landslide. Next is classification of Indian Railway. Depending upon the importance of routes and traffic carried by each line and maximum permissible speed on the routes, the Indian Railway have been classified into the following three categories: trunk route, main lines and branch line. Trunk routes, the following 6 routes in broad gauge and 3 routes are classified in a trunk routes. Broad gauge: Delhi Howrah, Delhi Mumbai, Delhi Chennai, Howrah Mumbai, Howrah Chennai, Mumbai Chennai. And meter gauge: Lucknow Gorakhpur Guwahati, Delhi Jaipur Ajmer Ahmedabad, Chennai Madurai and Trivandrum. Second is main lines. All lines other than trunk routes carrying 10 gross million ton or more per year for broad gauge, and maximum permissible speed is 100 km per hour for broad gauge comes under the main lines. And all lines other than the trunk routes carrying a 2.5 gross million ton or more per year for meter gauge and maximum permissible speed is 75 km per hour for meter gauge comes under the main line. It means all lines other than the trunk routes carrying a 10 gross million ton per annum or more for broad gauge and 2.5 gross million or more for meter gauge and whose maximum permissible speed allowed is 100 km per hour for broad gauge and 75 km per hour for meter gauge are classified as main lines by railway board. Okay, so track relaying period is 20 years for broad gauge and 30 years for meter gauge. Okay, next is third, branch line. All routes carrying less than 10 gross million ton per year for broad gauge and maximum permissible speed is less than 100 km per hour for broad gauge comes under branch line. Okay, and all lines carrying less than 2.5 gross million ton per year for meter gauge and maximum permissible speed is less than 75 km per hour for meter gauge comes under branch lines. It means all lines are other than trunk routes carrying less than 10 gross million ton per annum for broad gauge and less than 2.5 gross million per annum for meter gauge and whose maximum permissible speed allowed is less than 100 km per hour for broad gauge and less than 75 km per hour for meter gauge are classified as a branch lines by railway board. Okay, all routes is broad gauge and the meter gauge locomotive engines will be permitted to operate on all branch lines at a reasonable speed. Okay, so no new rails will normally be used on a branch lines. Now next we see based on speed criteria. Group A. Usually trunk routes on which the speed of train should be kept at 160 km per hour or more are classified in this group. Delhi to Howrah, Howrah to Mumbai via Nagpur. Second is group B. Under this group, those routes have been classified on which the maximum permissible speed is 130 km per allowed. At present, 13 routes come under the group B, like Kalyan, Raichur, Chennai, Kharagpur, Baroda, Ahmedabad, etc. Third is group C, all the suburban routes of Mumbai and Kolkata fall under this group. Okay, then group D, all other routes where the maximum sanctioned speed is 100 km per hour and comes under this group. Group E, the branch lines where the maximum speed is less than 100 km per hour is comes under this group E. Next is important topic is zones of Indian Railway. In 1950, the India government acquired control over all India railway except the very few private companies. The entire railway system comprising 35 railway administrators before April 1951 was regrouped into the following 9 zones: Eastern Railway, Southeastern Railway, Northern Railway, Northeastern Railway, Southern Railway, Central Railway, Western Railway, Northeastern Frontier Railway, South Central Railway. Okay. So we will stop over here. Thank you.